Welcome back to the show, guys. It is a good one that I have lined up today, and I'm excited to jump into things. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Today's episode is going to be about the 4 things that changed my life. And these 4 things are going to be things that you're not expecting right now. So here we go. Now, when I break down the thing that really made me want to change, now this is going to be a physical transformation that I'm going to share. I'm going to share how I lost 60 pounds, and we're going to go through what that looked like and my interpretation of the things that I had to go through for the transformation. Now, these can be applied to business, these can be applied to sales, and so I just want you to think, as you're hearing my story, how this can potentially apply to you. Right? So nothing changes until you are disgusted, not just annoyed, not just slightly uncomfortable, but absolutely disgusted. Now, I want to kind of go into a personal story here to talk about something that I had to go through for myself. So when I first decided to get in shape to a new level, and really, because I was at a mediocre place, right? I was 60 pounds heavier than I am today. I was saying, oh, it's not that bad, all the different things, right? The lies you tell yourself, at least I'm not in terrible shape, right? Justification, the typical things that we rationalize with, or I did at least, where you just say things like, it's just who I am, or maybe this is just what I've been dealt, whatever the case may be. But deep down, I wanted more. I wanted to be I wanted to see my abs. I wanted to have a 6-pack. But more importantly, and this is the thing that now that I'm looking back more and more, yeah, I wanted those things. But the heavier thing was that I was sick of where I was at for so long. I was annoyed with where I was at for so long. That was the first step for me. So the number one step, in my opinion, is disgust. It is being annoyed with where you're at, being super frustrated. That is the thing that will motivate you more than the desire of the thing that you want. Think about it. Everybody says they want $1 million. Everyone says they want a 6-pack, but few people get pissed off enough about how they look and feel to make the first step, which is being pissed off. Now, you can take that and be like, what do you mean? Well, you have to be annoyed with your situation. You have to be frustrated enough to take that first action, which I think you have to get to that pinnacle where it's built up so much that you're so over it. It's the final straw. You draw the line in the sand, so to speak, and you jump into this other version. Now, that's step 1. In life, you got to get through step 1. If you're still kind of like it's not that bad, or, life isn't terrible, or at least I'm still doing okay. And I don't care if you have to lose 1 pound or 100 pounds. The concept is the same. The person that has to lose 1 pound gets so pissed off about the 1 pound that they decide to change. The same thing with the guy that has to lose 100 pounds. At the 100th pound, he finally decides enough is enough. So everybody has a different thermostat of where this is going to land. And Ed Milet explains this perfectly with the thermostat analogy of, with your bank balance, you have a certain thermostat that you have to be at to even feel like functionable. Same with your fitness, right? If it goes below that, you start cranking things up and go, going harder. And if it goes above that, sometimes you'll slow down, right? But the big transformation only comes when you're finally at that full tilt of disgust. That's step 1. Step 2 here is going to be, it's got to turn into motivation. It's got to turn into a step forward. It's got to turn into something, right? So for me, that was hiring a mentor. That was spending money because I didn't know what I didn't know. It was that simple to me in my mind. I don't know how to get a six pack. And a lot of times we justify the idea of, well, I do know what to do. I just have to eat healthy and work out. And I'll tell you right now, that's a very slippery slope because you're justifying that you know what to do. But knowledge is only knowledge if you are able to act it out, if you're able to do the thing that you have knowledge on, right? We have plenty of knowledge in this world, but the action that it takes is the separator. And so you got to have that step 2, which is just like enough pain that actually motivates you to make a change or gets you in a position to, for me in my situation, it was, okay, I'm not where I want to be physically. I'm 60, I want to get in better shape. I want to be elite, not just in better shape. I want to be the best version. I want to feel incredible. I want to look in the mirror and be excited. I want to take my shirt off at the beach and be like pumped. And I do not feel those things at all in the slightest, and I'm pissed off and I'm going to change. Then I hired a mentor. Then I decided I don't know what I don't know. I need the mentor. I need the support. I need the help. That's step 2. You choose pain with purpose, right? You literally turn that pain into action. You buy the book, you buy the course, you buy the mentor, you get the one-on-one coach. Now, if this is sales, it's the same thing. You get the sales coach, you get the sales mentor, and I've done the same thing in sales, and I can go into a story on that next time. But on this analogy, this story I want to talk about, I got the fitness coach, and I remember, he's like, well, how important is this to you? What's your commitment level? Is this something that you feel like you can solve on your own? These were the questions he asked me on the sales call. I was like, no, my commitment's at a 10 of 10. I'm so annoyed where I'm at. I'll do anything. We get to the end, the cost, the price, and you're sitting there and you're like, well, crap, am I willing to even do the first thing, which is put a credit card and pay for this thing? And right there, you're challenged on step 1, which is, are you at a bad enough place to actually take action? The world is just challenging you and really testing you to see if this is as serious as you say it is, if this is actually going to make you want to do something. So you have to pass the first test. That is the first test. So I did that. I made that decision. That is step 1, making the decision. So, that's step 3, is to finally make the decision. So step 2 is pain that motivates you. Step 1 is you got to be disgusted. Step 2, you have that pain that motivates you. And then step 3 is you make the decision. No halfway, no dabbling, no, I can do this on my own. No, I'll just study this on my own for a little bit longer. Or I'll just dabble in this. Maybe I'll do something a little bit cheaper and see if that gets me there. No, you just decide. And then there's this crazy identity shift where you're not even at the goal, but you start to think, man, I'm this elite guy. I'm going to be elite. Your identity starts shifting the other way. Instead of being this fat, lazy, average dude, you're like, I can do this. I can be elite. Your identity starts to shift. It's the famous quote. We've all heard it. You do not rise to the goals that you have. You fall to your identity. And I think the only way to change your identity is to make a decision that aligns with that new identity. And that's what I did with my fitness. I made that decision, which was, that was a big step. I went all in on it. I didn't give myself a way out. And I put everything, energy, effort. I did exactly what this mentor told me to do. I followed it to a T. Yes, I had bad days. Yes, I had weekends where I freaking went back to my old identity, had the cake, had the cookies, was just off the rails, right? Couldn't figure out. And then I had to bounce back to that identity, get back on track of the new identity, the person that I wanted to become. I had to remind myself why I had committed in the first place. And then I'm telling you, literally a year later, I had been putting in the work every single day. And I'll tell you about this part too. During that time, I'm tracking my food. I'm tracking every little thing that I eat. I have a food scale. I buy 5 food scales. I bring them with me everywhere I go. I remember I go visit family in Utah, and I got my Fitness Pal out. I'm tracking every little thing. We're going out to restaurants. I'm like, can I just order chicken on the side? And they're like, what do you mean? Well, that's all I can eat right now. That's the only thing in my macros. They're like, well, what do you like? I mean, you're already in pretty good shape. Like, what's the point of this? The point is I had been disgusted enough to be elite, and I was hell bent on making sure that it happened. And I was not about to let my family pull me back into my old identity. No chance. I was so committed. I'd already made the decision. And so I, maybe looked like an idiot. They're like, this is weird, but hey, listen, whatever. People don't understand. People don't care that you have a vision and goal. And that's okay. I mean, there's nothing to be mad about with that. But you have to decide that it is important enough to you to become that identity, even when you're around family, friends, whatever the case may be. A year later, I literally get in the best shape of my life. I'm telling you, I was, at one point, I was probably around 6% body fat. I can't necessarily prove that. I didn't get a DEXA scan. But I'll tell you right now, I was on an InBody, and at one point the InBody had me at, I want to say 3% body fat. Now, InBodies are a little bit off sometimes, so it was probably closer to 6%. So that's where I would say I was at. But I had no fat on my body. I was ripped to shreds. I had a new identity. I had a new idea of what it actually takes. My thermostat was turned up to 90 degrees instead of 50, and everything changed for me from there. I started to realize, wow, that is what it takes. It takes going to the extreme to stay at about 85 degrees. Now my new normal is 85, six-pack year round. I feel good. I feel good all the time. And now, like my old identity, I'm never going to go back to 55 degrees. I just have a new standard. And years have gone by. Still kept the standard. I'm changed. I'm never going to go back. And it just took that first step of being so annoyed with where you're at. Like to the point where you literally almost throw up that you're so mad. And I don't care if you have to lose 1 pound. Again, I'll say this again. 1 or 2 pounds, you're already in pretty good shape. It still takes the same degree of frustration to get to that 1 pound as it does to lose or to be 100 pounds, overweight. Have to lose 100 pounds. You still have to be the same degree of anger, frustration, pissed offness to get started. And it's the same in sales. If you're not where you want to be sales wise, I'm going through that right now, like where I'm on that train of I'm going to figure this out, and I'm hell bent on making it happen because I'm not where I want to be. And that leads me to step 4, which is you have resolve to keep going. For a full year, I tracked everything. 365 days. I tracked all my food, and I went to the gym consistently 4 times a week was what I was doing back then. Nowadays, I only go 3. I only go 3 times a week. It's almost on the back burner, my fitness, right? It not on the back burner in terms of I just don't want to focus on it. Like I have other focuses now, but I want to be elite still in my fitness. So I do the specific things that I need to do to stay elite without having to go 4 or 5 times a week to the gym or make it a huge priority. It's just on the back burner. But resolve doesn't mean it was perfect for the 12 months. There was a lot of bad times where I hit plateaus. Like I said, I went backwards. I fell off. I went back to my old identity. The scale wasn't moving. Results weren't coming. You question everything. Why do I have to weigh my food? I remember texting my coach. I'm like, listen, man, tell me how to do this without weighing my food. I don't want to weigh my food. I was pissed off. I'm like, I do not want to weigh my food. This is annoying. I'm going out to eat, and I'm seriously like counting out the freaking calories. What the heck? Is there another way? And he just responded back, and this changed my life forever. He responded back, and he was like, and Ben was my coach, so if he's watching this is awesome. But I remember him, he just responded back. He said, no, there isn't. It takes what it takes. You said you wanted this. You said you wanted a 6-pack. You said that you wanted to lose this weight. You said that you wanted to be in elite shape. And he reminded me all the things that I wanted. And he just said, no, there isn't. Unless you just don't want this. And I was like, I sat there. And that's when I burned the bridge. I burned the bridge to all the other things that I could or couldn't do, or listening to people that said, oh, you can get in shape without doing this. I just blocked out all the noise. I listened to my coach, tracked everything, followed it. There was another way. In my mind, I believed that. I trusted him. He had rapport with me, and I'm so glad I did, because he's right. There is no other way. So yeah, there was a lot of times where you want to give up, where you want to quit, where you want to go back. You want to go back on the bridge to your old version of yourself. But when you burn that bridge where you can't go back and the new identity starts taking over, year after year now, I am still in elite shape. It's a done deal now. I don't have to battle myself anymore. I don't have to ask stupid questions. But there is that year of restructuring your identity and going back and forth with yourself, and moments you question things and you want to quit. But resolve is what builds that physique that people are like confused. They don't even know how you did it, right? Now, that's just a short story, and I just wanted to bring in an actual story of how this practically works. It can be for you guys listening. I just want you to focus on, you don't need more information. All you need is to be so disgusted and have so much pain that it creates the decision. And once you've finally created that decision, if that's the mentor, the help, the support, somebody that's done what you want to do, then you just need the resolve to keep with it. And until that first one is hit, that disgust hits hard enough, you'll keep circling the same body, the same excuses, the same sales every month, the same version of yourself. If you're listening to this and you're anything like me, you start to think of all the things that you want to change right now and want to get to that next level and that you're uncomfortable with. And that's good. Sit in that, because that's the beginning. That is the beginning of this new version of yourself. You can't get the things you want without changing your identity. But I've realized that at this point. It's my identity that keeps you at a certain degree in life. And that disgust is what will change that identity, that first step. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Until next time.